Welcome to the Are You Killing It podcast. I'm Kevin.
Ricky.
And I'm Patrick.
Check out the highlights from tonight's event.
Tonight was an incredible event. We had Patrick Stewart himself speaking.
Extraordinaire.
Nah, it was a pleasure. It was so much fun tonight. The energy in this room was just, it really is, when you bring a bunch of business owners together, the energy just goes up. It was awesome. It's easy to talk in a group like that.
So you talked about a few things. You talked about the why, right?
Yep.
And tell us a little bit about, as a business owner, why it's important to have a why.
I think the why is really what's going to motivate you through, and it's going to drive your organization, and it really sets you up. It's the differentiator between you and your competitors. Mm-hmm. Because everybody leads with the how and the what they do, but it's the why is what separates you or any business and from another business that's their competitors.
Oh, I like that. I totally agree. And talking about separating yourself from your competition, I love when you open up, and it's so kind of might be cheesy, but it's still so impactful. The Red Rose story.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, the differentiator. You know, I think what happens is, and you can watch in the video that most companies, they don't think outside the box. Like their differentiator, we always talk to them. Hey, what separates you from your company? And what do they say, Kev?
They don't know.
Or they'll go, well, I'm honest.
Yeah, no, I'm on time.
I'm on time.
I got fair prices.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right?
Yeah, no,
or they just don't know.
Or they just don't know, yeah. And it's like, you've got to come up with something that's going to make you memorable. And just being on time, your competitors are doing that. Doing what you say you're going to do, your competitors are doing that. Or they're saying they're doing it anyways. Maybe they're not doing it, but they say they're doing it. So you got to come up with a Red Rose, something unique that's going to differentiate you between all of the other noise out there, because there is a lot of noise out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you talk about by design or by default. Elaborate a little bit on that.
You know what? I think so many business owners, they start their business and they get into business, and then what they do is they end up just being, all of a sudden they turn around and it's a year later, 5 years later, and they go, they are where they are, but it was by default. They didn't really design, they didn't really have a plan, a strategy. They didn't take the time every year to create a strategy for the next year, or really say go with the end in mind. Like say, hey, my vision for my organization is to be at this point, and this is what my personal vision is, and so now I have a destination that I'm aiming for. Otherwise, it just is. It's just you end up where you're at. And default isn't always bad. We've seen some great organizations that have defaulted their way to the top, but the ones that design it, they're more apt to hit the target because they know what the target is.
Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite lessons that you say to talk about, and it's in the book, is your platinum activity. But it ties in so beautifully with your to-don't list.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Like not just being active. There's activity and there's productivity, but there's that platinum time. What can you share about that?
Yeah, I think, again, when you start to really analyze where does your day go, have you ever got to the end of the day and you're like, what did I do today? I don't know, or the end of the week, or you're like, I didn't get anything done this week. And it's because of this. It's like digging a hole in the sand. You dig, and all of a sudden it just fills back in. You create this time, and it fills back in, and then you're wondering what happened there. And so when you start to really intentionally block out time, and what we say is this: what is your platinum activity? What's the thing that you do that brings the most value to the organization? And a lot of times that is maybe it's golfing with your top 3 clients, but you just don't get time to do that. Or maybe it's going out and going to a networking event, or maybe it's you making a phone call, or you sitting down and having coffee and closing a deal. But what will happen is somebody will start, maybe they get on their cell phone and something will take them away, and then pretty soon they're talking to somebody about accounts receivable, and then they're talking to the bank, and then pretty soon the day just got away from them. So the platinum activity is this: set aside the time and don't let anything take that away from you, and to find out when are you the most valuable? You know, are you a morning person, an afternoon person, an evening person? And just carve out that time and just say, I'm only going to do what's going to drive the most value to our organization.
That's some great information. Obviously, 50% of what we know as a business owner is our trade, right? The other 85% of the time, it's running the business, knowing HR, knowing our finances. How do you help a business owner navigate through all that noise?
Well, again, it really goes down to delegating, you know, and saying, okay, who's going to be responsible for something? But the problem is this, you know, you can't delegate what you're not going to come in and investigate, right?
Okay.
You've got to have those KPIs set up to where you know it's getting done. So you know, and that's the thing. So.
And that's a great point because KPIs, I'm a business owner. Do you find most business owners know what to measure?
No, I think they start measuring the wrong thing typically. Okay. A lot of times they get frustrated, and so then they start micromanaging, or they'll get frustrated with a certain person, and they'll start measuring the wrong activity, and then it's actually demotivating their staff.
You know, I love the story you're talking about with the steel company.
Yeah.
Right, and that one just is so funny that, you know, this one division, this one site you were saying, right?
Yeah.
Could not get over the hump. Like they just could not produce more steel.
Yeah.
Right, it just wouldn't happen.
No.
And then one guy's out there and said, "Hey, you know, guys, you know the day shift. So, how many did you get done today? We got 6 pallets. Awesome. Spray paint the big 6 on the floor, you know. Hey, so what's that? Oh, that's what the day shift did. Right? Oh. the day shift came back after the night shift. What number was up there?
Number 7. They crossed it out. Crossed out the 6 and put 7. Yeah.
Start measuring the right things instead of micromanaging the wrong things.
That's exactly right.
And you get them motivated the right way.
Yeah. And you can make a game out of business. And I think when everybody understands what the rules are of the game and how to score, what does a touchdown look like? How are we putting points on the board? And then on the other side, what's a penalty look like and feel like? And so then they can identify it. And it's amazing when everybody starts working towards that same goal, and when they all understand what it is, then what'll happen is the whole organization's moving in the direction, and that's culture. That's where you start to see culture of an organization really coming together.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you talked about the core within the culture, right?
Yep, core values.
And core values. What does core value mean to most business owners?
You know, again, I think if you talk to a business owner, typically they're going to say, you know, again, honesty. They're going to say, you know, friendly. You know, I think they'll start throwing out some LY words, right?
Right, yeah.
and some adjectives, you know. But the thing is that really what the company's core values are? Okay. Because it's got to be trust. You got to have an organization of trust, because when you have that, then when like our group, we'll have meetings and we start arguing, or we call somebody out on something, and we take it a little personal, but we all know it's for the betterment of the organization. Either we agree or don't agree, but we still understand the organization's moving forward, and we know that this is what's going to help it move forward.
Okay.
And I want to say one thing on that, and you're right, trust. I mean, we might have those disagreements. You know what I mean? We get hot and heated. You know, there's that element. Okay, we take a little personal, but we trust each other. That at the end of the day, we have each other's best interests in mind.
That's exactly
for the organization, and we kind of come back and all right, and move forward.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to talk to you about is the alignment. You talked beautifully tonight about how to align your company, the front tire and the back tire.
Yeah. You know what? Again, what happens in organizations, a lot of times what we see is we'll see the owner, like we'll ask them, we'll go through an alignment questionnaire, and we'll ask them these questions, and the questions are going to touch, again, on their marketing, on their sales, on their finance, on their operations, on HR, on human development, on technology, and they think it's one area, and they'll say, oh, I'm a 10, and then we'll go start talking to the team, and they're like, we're a 2. We don't have any of that. So that's where the misalignment is, and then all of a sudden we go like this, wait, there's the gap. How are we going to shorten that gap? How do we say either bring the owner down, say no, you're at 2, and then, or we really want to bring the organization up to where they're 10. But the idea is this: if you have a good vision, if you have your company vision, that's going to be that front tire, and then our personal vision is the front tire, and the company vision is the back tire. Those will get you when life's tough and you got to grind. Looking at that vision of where we're going and why we're going through this, it really helps, and that's where the alignment comes.
Well, that was great stuff. Thank you, our
Yeah,
leader,
we
Patrick
loved it.
Stewart.
Thank you.
Talking about timeless principles. Take us away.
Y'all, stay tuned for more Are You Killing It podcast. Our next event is next month.
Killing it.
Yeah, and we're gonna have Rob Epstein from
College Hunks.
College Hunks Junk Removal.
Yeah, Papa Hunk.
We're killing it.